You may have heard that the US dollar's dominance is coming to an end. This is a big deal because the dollar is used in about 60% of global foreign reserves and 40% of international debt. For a long time, the US has used the dollar's dominance as a financial weapon, like when they froze the Russian reserve assets at the start of the war between Russia and Ukraine. But not everyone is happy with the US calling the shots, so people have been looking for alternatives to the dollar as the global reserve currency. In this video, we'll talk about what the reserve currency is and look at some of the possible alternatives to the US dollar. First, let's define reserve currency. Basically, it's a large amount of currency held by central banks and other financial institutions for international transactions. This is especially important for trading commodities, which are usually priced in the reserve currency. There are benefits to having little to no exchange rate because there's no need for countries to exchange their currency for the reserve currency to trade. For the last 75 years, the primary reserve currency has been the United States dollar. But this has led other countries closely watching United States monetary policies to make sure their reserves aren't affected by United States inflation. This is why having just one reserve currency can be dangerous. So, how did the US dollar become the world's reserve currency? In 1944, the United States became the dominant economic power, while other major economies had been weakened by the world wars. Delegates from 44 countries came together and agreed to use the United States dollar as their official reserve currency. Ever since, all other countries attached their exchange rates to that of the United States dollar, and at the time, they were able to convert this into gold. It was a beautiful time period. The dollar was stable and strong, and the United States was flourishing. Yet, at Nixon's 1971 decision, the United States dollar stopped being backed by gold. So now it was possible for the United States to print dollars that were instead backed by debt. And so they did. The United States continued printing more money for its many expenses. But due to the fact that countries already had loads of dollars, it remained the reserve currency as it still somehow was the most stable form of exchange. However, all that has begun to change. The euro is starting to look like a better option, regardless of the fact that it still has a long way to go before it can confidently take first place. But that doesn't mean there aren't other possible options. For example, China's financial system has improved the infrastructure of its financial market, making the renminbi a more reliable store of value. Yet the best option might be to create a strong multipolar system that supports diversification, hence allowing multiple reserve currencies, which would lead to an increase in the supply of safe assets. But while a multiple reserve currency system may not seem feasible at the moment, we can hope for technological development to provide us with that chance, creating a platform that would be run virtually and not physically. This points us toward the direction of digital currencies. In this case, we could build a new payment infrastructure that is based on an international stablecoin entirely backed by reserve assets in a basket of currencies that could include the euro, the United States dollar, Japanese yen, and Chinese yuan. This brand new synthetic hegemony currency, or SHC, would then be provided through a network of central bank digital currencies. Hence, with this being widespread, all of the currencies in this basket would now be considered reliable reserve assets, pushing the emerging market economies to move towards diversifying their safe assets away from the dollar. Another potential solution could be the use of BRICS currencies, at least in transaction between BRICS countries themselves. These countries have seen significant growth in recent years, and their currencies have gained in importance as a result. However, there is a larger question about the long-term viability of the BRICS currencies due to the potential for economic and political instability in some of the member countries. We cover that topic in a separate video. The link is in the description if you want to check it out.
Well, yes, over the last year especially, the US dollar has been put into question as far as its dominance over the years. The US dollar has been a little bit of attacked on different fronts ever since the Russian invasion of Ukraine, and the possibility that Russia will trade oil directly with China or maybe with India. They've already started to set up some currency settlements. But we believe that in the end, it's going to take a lot of time and a lot of economic will to debase the US dollars, as it is called. One of the main reasons is that to have a strong currency, goods, services, and commodities have to trade on the base of your commodity. And for now, the supremacy of the US dollar is pretty much worldwide. About close to 70% of the exchanges on the world are taking place in US dollars. And so, yes, on the margin, there can be some currency trading with Russia and China and India and the BRICS maybe, but that's really margin, at the margin. And the currencies like the renminbi and Indian rupee, first of all, have capital controls. So it's very difficult to do exchange worldwide. And that would be the most difficult question, because capital controls, of course, if you trade with China, then if China decides that it doesn't want to let you take your money back, then you won't be able to. So I think it is a possibility, but it will take some time.
Finally, some have proposed the creation of a global currency managed by a global institution such as the International Monetary Fund. This currency, known as a bancor, would be pegged to a basket of global currencies, which could be used for international transactions. While the idea of a global currency has been discussed for many years, it remains a controversial and challenging concept. Overall, there are many alternatives to US dollar dominance that have been proposed and discussed. While it is unlikely that the US dollar will lose its position as the dominant global currency anytime soon, exploring these alternatives could lead to a more stable and balanced global financial system. But the fact remains that none of these will come easy. Before you leave, do let us know your thoughts on the topic in the comment section below. Thanks for joining us. I'm Riley Tanner with Dukascopy TV. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share. See you next time.